The stars looked different from the bridge of the human ship New Horizon. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the main window, watching the alien vessel approach slowly through space. He had seen many strange things during his 20 years in space, but nothing quite like this. The alien ship was beautiful in a cold way. It looked like it was made of crystal and metal twisted together. Light moved through its surface like water, flowing down glass. Jake had never seen anything like it before. "Captain, they're sending a message," said Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks from his station. His voice was calm, but Jake could hear the excitement underneath. This was humanity's first real contact with aliens, and everyone on the ship knew how important this moment was. Jake walked back to his captain's chair and sat down. "Put it through, Ryan." The main screen flickered and showed the inside of the alien ship. The beings standing there made Jake's breath catch in his throat. They were tall, much taller than humans, and their skin looked like it was made of living crystal. Light moved under their skin in patterns that seemed to match their movements. The one in the center stepped forward. When it spoke, the words came through the translation system in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. "I am Commander Zixtal of the Veltar Hegemony. We represent the Galactic Council in this first meeting with your species." Jake stood up and straightened his uniform. "I'm Captain Jake Morrison of the human vessel New Horizon. We're honored to meet you, Commander Zixtal. This is a historic moment for both our peoples." Commander Zixtal's head moved in what might have been a nod. "Indeed. We have been watching your species for some time. Your development has been interesting." Jake felt a small chill at those words, but he kept his expression friendly. "We hope to learn much from each other. Humanity has always dreamed of meeting other intelligent life in the galaxy." "Yes, we know of your dreams," said another alien, this one wearing what looked like a military uniform made of the same crystal material. "I am General Vexhai, military advisor to this delegation. We have observed your expansion into space with great interest." The way the general said, "great interest," made Jake wonder what exactly they had been watching. He decided to keep things simple and diplomatic. "We're peaceful explorers, General. We seek knowledge and friendship among the stars." A third alien stepped forward, smaller than the others and wearing robes that seemed to shimmer with their own light. "I am Science Officer Kethamore. We have studied your transmissions and learned much about your species. However, there are aspects of human culture that we find difficult to understand." Dr. Lisa Carter, who had been standing quietly beside Jake, spoke up. "I'm Dr. Lisa Carter, our cultural liaison officer. I'd be happy to help explain anything about human society that might seem unclear." Commander Zixtal's crystalline features shifted in what might have been interest. "That would be most helpful, Dr. Carter. We believe that understanding between our peoples is essential for peaceful relations." "Of course," Lisa said with a warm smile. "What would you like to know?" Science Officer Kethmore consulted what looked like a crystal tablet. "We have observed that humans engage in many activities that serve no obvious survival purpose. Activities that you refer to as fun. This concept is unclear to us." Jake and Lisa exchanged glances. Of all the things they had prepared to explain about humanity, recreational activities seemed like one of the safest topics. "Fun is what we call activities we do for enjoyment," Lisa explained. "Things we do when we're not working or taking care of survival needs. Most intelligent species must have something similar, right?" The aliens looked at each other, and Jake noticed that the light patterns under their skin seemed to pulse faster. General Vexhai spoke first. "The Veltar engage in activities for mental stimulation and social bonding. However, these activities are always carefully planned to ensure maximum safety and efficiency. While humans enjoy many different types of fun," Lisa continued, still smiling. "Some people like quiet activities like reading or painting. Others prefer more active pastimes." "Active pastimes?" asked Science Officer Kethmore, and his crystal tablet began glowing more brightly. Jake could see that the crew around the bridge was listening with interest. He decided to join the conversation. "Sure, some of our crew here enjoy various recreational activities during their off-duty time. It helps us stay mentally healthy during long space voyages." Commander Zixtal leaned forward slightly. "Could You provide specific examples of these activities? We wish to understand human psychology better. Lisa looked pleased at their interest. Of course, let me share some footage from Earth. I have lots of examples of human recreational activities in our cultural database. She moved to her workstation and began pulling up files. Here, let me show you some popular human pastimes. These should give you a good idea of what humans do for fun. As Lisa worked, Jake noticed that all three aliens were watching very intently. General Vexhai had taken out his own crystal device and seemed to be recording everything. Ready, Lisa announced. Let me start with some outdoor activities that many humans enjoy. The main screen split to show both the alien ship and a new window displaying footage from Earth. Jake could see mountains, oceans, and blue skies. It all looked so peaceful and beautiful. This should be interesting, Ryan whispered from his station, and Jake nodded in agreement. Commander Zixtel watched the screen carefully. We are prepared to observe, Dr. Carter. Please show us what humans do for fun. Jake settled back in his chair, expecting to spend the next hour or so sharing pleasant videos of human recreation with their new alien friends. It seemed like such a simple, harmless way to build understanding between their species. He had no idea that he was about to accidentally terrify the most powerful military force in the galaxy. The footage began to play, and Jake smiled as he watched familiar scenes from Earth. This was going to be easy. What could possibly be frightening about showing aliens how humans like to have fun? In the background, he could hear Dr. Carter beginning her explanation, her voice warm and enthusiastic as she prepared to share the joy of human recreation with beings from another world. The aliens watched in complete silence, their crystalline faces reflecting the light from the screen as they prepared to learn about humanity's idea of entertainment. Dr. Lisa Carter smiled as she pulled up the first video file. The screen showed a beautiful mountain landscape with blue skies and white clouds. She was excited to share human culture with these fascinating alien visitors. Let me start with something simple, Lisa said cheerfully. This is rock climbing. It's a very popular activity on Earth. The video showed a human man climbing up the face of a tall cliff. He had ropes and safety equipment, but he was still hundreds of feet above the ground. The camera followed him as he moved carefully from one small handhold to another. On the alien ship, the three Veltar watched in complete silence. Commander Zixtal's crystalline features began to show faint stress patterns. Science Officer Kethmore was taking notes on his crystal tablet, and the light under his skin was pulsing, faster than before. As you can see, Lisa continued, the climber is using skill and strength to reach the top of the cliff. Many humans find this very enjoyable and relaxing. General Vexhai spoke first, his voice careful and controlled. Dr. Carter, what is the survival purpose of this activity? Is the human retrieving something from the top of the cliff? Lisa looked confused for a moment. Oh no, there's nothing up there. He's climbing just for the fun of it. The challenge and the exercise make it enjoyable. The aliens exchanged glances that seemed worried. The light patterns under their skin were definitely moving faster now. I see, said Science Officer Kethmore slowly. The human is placing himself in mortal danger. For pleasure? Well, it's not really that dangerous if you know what you're doing, Lisa explained. Though I suppose there is always some risk. That's part of what makes it exciting. Jake noticed that General Vexhai was now writing very quickly on his crystal device. The military advisor looked like he was recording everything Lisa said. Let me show you another popular activity, Lisa said, switching to a new video. This is surfing. The screen now showed massive ocean waves, some of them 20 or 30 feet tall. A human woman was standing on a board, riding down the face of a giant wave that looked like it could crush her at any moment. Commander Zixtal made a sound that the translation system couldn't interpret. It sounded like breaking glass. Surfing is very popular in coastal areas, Lisa explained happily. Riders use the power of the ocean waves to propel themselves. It requires great balance and timing. Dr. Carter, General Vexhai interrupted. What happens if the human falls? Lisa shrugged casually. Oh, they get tumbled around underwater for a while. Sometimes they get scraped up on rocks or coral. Occasionally someone gets seriously hurt, but that's pretty rare. Science Officer Kethmore stopped writing and stared at the screen. They They do this knowing they might be injured? Sure, Lisa said. Risk is part of the appeal. The bigger the wave, the more exciting the ride. Jake was starting to notice that his alien guests looked rather pale, if beings made of crystal could be said to look pale. The light under their skin had definitely dimmed. Perhaps, Commander Zixtal said carefully, you could show us a safer human recreational activity? Lisa nodded enthusiastically. Of course. Here's skydiving. This is one of my personal favorites. The new video showed humans jumping out of airplanes high above the earth. They fell through the sky for long seconds before opening their parachutes and floating down to land. There was a long moment of complete silence from the alien ship. Dr. Carter, Science Officer Kethamore said finally, his voice very quiet. Did those humans just throw themselves out of a flying aircraft? Yes, Lisa said brightly. Isn't it amazing? The feeling of free fall is supposed to be incredible. I'm hoping to try it myself when we get back to Earth. General Vexhai was now writing so fast that his crystal tablet was glowing bright white. Jake could see sweat forming on the general's crystalline forehead, which he hadn't known was possible. But, Commander Zixtal said slowly, what if the parachute fails to function? Lisa waved her hand dismissively. Oh, that almost never happens. Modern parachutes are very reliable. Besides, most skydivers carry backup parachutes just in case. Most? General Vexhai repeated weakly. Well, some experienced jumpers go without backups to reduce weight. Lisa explained. They call it going naked. It makes the jump more thrilling. Ryan Brooks, who had been listening from his navigation station, decided to join the conversation. I tried skydiving once during shore leave, he said cheerfully. It was great. Though I have to admit, I prefer water sports myself. Commander Zixtal turned to look at Ryan with what appeared to be growing horror. Water sports? Yeah, I love shark cage diving, Ryan continued enthusiastically. You get lowered into the ocean in a metal cage, and great white sharks come right up to investigate. Some of them are 15 feet long. You can see their teeth up close through the bars. Science Officer Kethamore's crystal tablet slipped from his hands and clattered to the floor of the alien ship. The sharks, General Vexhai said faintly. They are dangerous predators, correct? Oh, absolutely, Ryan said. They're apex predators, perfect killing machines that have barely changed in millions of years. That's what makes it so exciting to be near them. Lisa nodded in agreement. Shark diving is wonderful. Though some people prefer to swim with them without the cage, they say it's more authentic that way. All three aliens were now staring at the humans with expressions of what could only be described as terror. The light patterns under their skin had gone from fast pulses to a steady, alarmed glow. Without the cage? Commander Zixtal whispered. Sure, Lisa said. The sharks usually don't attack unless they mistake you for prey. Most of the time. Jake was beginning to realize that this cultural exchange might not be going exactly as planned. The aliens looked like they were seeing humans in a completely new light, and not necessarily a good one. Dr. Carter, Science Officer Kethamore said, his voice shaking slightly. Are these activities you have shown us considered normal among humans? Oh yes, Lisa replied. These are pretty common recreational activities, nothing too extreme. General Vexahai looked up from his notes with obvious alarm. Not extreme? Lisa smiled. These are beginner-level activities. Would you like to see some of the more advanced human pastimes? The silence from the alien ship stretched on for nearly a full minute before Commander Zixtal spoke again. Yes, he said quietly. Please show us more. Dr. Lisa Carter was delighted by the aliens' interest in human recreation. She had no idea that her enthusiasm was causing a complete re-evaluation of humanity's threat level aboard the Veltar ship. Wonderful, Lisa said, pulling up new files. Since you want to see more advanced activities, let me show you free solo climbing. The screen filled with footage of a human man climbing a massive cliff face. But this time there were no ropes, no safety equipment, and no backup plan. Just a person moving up a wall of rock thousands of feet above the ground. This is Alex, Lisa explained proudly. He's climbing El Capitan in Yosemite without any safety gear at all. It takes incredible skill and mental focus. One small mistake means certain death. Science Officer Kethmore made a sound like crystal breaking. He has no protection? No safety measures? That's the whole point, Lisa said enthusiastically. Free solo climbing is about achieving perfect focus. When death is the consequence of any error, it forces the climber to reach a state of absolute concentration. General Vexhai was writing frantically on his crystal tablet. Jake could see that the military advisor's hands were shaking slightly as he took notes. But surely, Commander Zixtal said weakly, this is an extremely rare activity practiced by only a few mentally unstable individuals. Lisa looked surprised. Oh no, free solo climbing has thousands of practitioners worldwide. It's considered one of the purest forms of the sport. Very respected in the climbing community. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks nodded in agreement. I know several people who free solo. It's not for everyone, but those who do it say there's nothing like the feeling of complete freedom. The aliens exchanged looks of growing alarm. Commander Zixtal's crystalline features were now showing distinct stress fractures, and science. Officer Kethmore had given up trying to take notes altogether. Let me show you another popular extreme activity, Lisa continued cheerfully. This is wingsuit flying. The new video showed humans jumping off cliffs and mountains while wearing special suits that allowed them to glide through the air. They flew between rock formations at incredible speeds, sometimes passing within inches of solid stone. Wingsuit pilots can reach speeds of over 200 miles per hour, Lisa explained. They navigate through narrow canyons and around obstacles using only their body movements to control direction. General Vexhai's crystal tablet was now glowing so brightly it was hard to look at directly. Dr. Carter, what is the survival rate for this activity? Lisa paused to think. Well, it's definitely one of the more dangerous sports. The fatality rate is pretty high, especially for base jumping with wingsuits. But that's part of what makes it so thrilling. Thrilling, science, Officer Kethmore repeated faintly. Oh yes, Ryan added helpfully. The closer you come to death, the more alive you feel. That's what extreme sports enthusiasts always say. Jake was watching the aliens carefully now. Their behavior was becoming increasingly strange, and he was starting to wonder if they were having some kind of medical emergency. Are you feeling all right? Jake asked Commander Zixtal. You seem distressed. We are simply processing this new information about human psychology, the commander replied. Carefully. Please continue with your cultural presentation. Lisa beamed and switched to another video. Here's volcano boarding. Humans slide down the sides of active volcanoes on specially designed boards. The footage showed people racing down slopes. A volcanic rock at dangerous speeds with lava flows visible in the background and toxic gases rising around them. The temperature can reach over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, Lisa explained. Plus, there's the risk of toxic gas inhalation, sudden lava flows, and high-speed crashes on sharp volcanic rock. Commander Zixtal was now making continuous, low-frequency sounds that the translation system couldn't interpret. They sounded like the noise crystal makes when it's about to shatter. This is madness, General Vexhai whispered, apparently forgetting that the humans could hear him. Lisa misunderstood his comment as enthusiasm. I know, right? It's absolutely amazing what humans will do for an adrenaline rush. Oh, that reminds me. Let me show you some of our contact sports. She switched to footage of mixed martial arts fights. Two humans were locked in brutal combat, striking each other with fists, elbows, knees, and feet. Blood was visible on their faces, but they continued fighting until one was knocked unconscious. This is mixed martial arts, Lisa explained. Two trained fighters compete to see who can defeat the other using various combat techniques. It's hugely popular as both a sport and entertainment. Science Officer Kethmore had now backed away from his viewing screen entirely. They fight each other for entertainment. Oh yes, Lisa said. We have all kinds of fighting sports. Boxing, where they only use fists. Wrestling, where they try to pin each other down. Even historical combat with swords and armor. She switched to footage of a rugby match, where large humans crashed into each other at full speed with no protective equipment beyond thin shirts. This is rugby, Lisa continued. Teams of players try to carry the ball to the opponent's goal while the other team tries to stop them using physical force. Broken bones and concussions are common, but it builds character. General Vexhai was now openly staring at the humans as if they were the most dangerous predators he had ever encountered. Dr. Carter, Commander Zixtal said slowly, "Do humans engage in these violent activities out of anger or hatred toward each other?" Lisa looked puzzled. "Oh no, not at all. These are friendly competitions. The fighters usually shake hands afterward and sometimes become good friends. The violence is just part of the fun." Engineer Kate Williams, who had been quietly listening from her station, decided to join the conversation. "I play ice hockey myself," she said proudly. "It's a great sport. You skate around on frozen water while trying to hit a rubber disc with wooden sticks, and you're allowed to body check opponents into the walls." "Body check?" Science Officer Kethmore asked weakly. "Yeah, you basically ram into other players at high speed to knock them down," Kate explained. "Sometimes fights break out on the ice, but that's just part of the game. Good, clean fun." The aliens were now looking at the humans like they were examining a completely unknown and extremely dangerous species. "I am beginning to understand," General Vexhai said quietly, "why your species was able to achieve space travel so quickly." Jake frowned. "What do you mean?" "A species that treats mortal danger as entertainment," the general replied slowly, "would have no fear of the risks involved in space exploration." Lisa clapped her hands together happily. "Oh, speaking of space, wait until you see what we do for fun in zero gravity. But first, let me show you some of our really extreme Earth sports. Have you ever heard of free climbing frozen waterfalls?" Anyway, 3 aliens looked at each other with expressions of pure terror. "Please," Commander Zixtal said faintly, "show us more." Commander Zixtal was desperately hoping that Dr. Carter would show them something less terrifying. Perhaps humans had some peaceful recreational activities that didn't involve deliberately risking death. "Actually," the commander said carefully, "could you show us some of your competitive activities? Surely humans must have contests that don't involve physical danger." Lisa's face lit up with excitement. "Oh, you want to see human competition? That's wonderful. Humans are incredibly competitive. Let me show you the Olympics." The screen filled with footage from various Olympic events. Lisa started with what she thought would be safe: swimming and running. But even these simple activities seemed to disturb the aliens when they learned the details. "This is the marathon," Lisa explained as runners pushed their bodies to exhaustion over 26 miles. Participants often collapse from dehydration, heat stroke, or simple physical exhaustion. Some even continue running while injured. Science Officer Kethmore watched a runner cross the finish line and immediately fall unconscious. They damage their bodies for a symbolic victory? "It's not just symbolic," Lisa corrected. "It's about pushing human limits, testing how far the body and mind can go before breaking." She switched to footage of Olympic skiing events. Humans flew down mountains at incredible speeds, launching themselves off jumps and spinning through the air before landing on narrow skis. "Downhill skiing can reach speeds of over 90 miles per hour, Lisa explained. "Crashes can result in broken bones, torn ligaments, or worse. But the faster you go, the better your time." General Vexhai was now taking notes with the desperate intensity of someone documenting a previously unknown form of warfare. "Dr. Carter, do humans hold these competitions regularly?" "Oh yes. The Olympics happen every 4 years, but we have competitive events constantly. Every sport, from local school competitions to international championships." She switched to footage of extreme skiing, where humans descended impossibly steep mountain faces through narrow chutes between rocks and cliffs. "This is extreme skiing," Lisa said proudly. "Skiers navigate slopes that are nearly vertical, often with deadly drops on either side. One wrong turn means falling hundreds of feet onto rocks." Commander Zixtal made another of those crystal-breaking sounds. "And this is considered entertainment?" "Both for the participants and the spectators," Lisa confirmed. "Millions of humans watch these events for excitement." Engineer Kate Williams spoke up from her station. "Don't forget motor racing, Lisa. That's always exciting to watch." Lisa clapped her hands. "Oh yes, Let me show you Formula One racing. The footage showed sleek vehicles traveling at speeds over 200 miles per hour, inches apart from each other, taking turns at velocities that seemed to defy physics. Race car drivers experience G-forces that can cause them to lose consciousness, Lisa explained enthusiastically. Crashes at these speeds can be fatal, but drivers say the risk makes victory more meaningful. Science Officer Kethmore had now moved to the far side of the alien bridge as if the humans might somehow reach through the screen and force him to participate in these insane activities. But surely, Commander Zixtal said desperately, some humans prefer safer forms of competition. Lisa thought for a moment. Well, there's competitive eating. She showed footage of humans consuming enormous quantities of food at incredible speed. Hot dogs, pies, and other items disappeared as contestants pushed their bodies to the limits of what their stomachs could hold. Competitors can suffer from stomach rupture, choking, or aspirating food into their lungs, Lisa explained matter-of-factly. But the current hot dog eating record is 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Isn't that amazing? General Vexhai looked like he was about to be sick, despite the fact that his crystalline physiology probably made that impossible. Commander Aaron Davis, who had been quietly observing the cultural exchange, decided to contribute. You should also mention endurance competitions, Lisa. Those really show human determination. Excellent point, Lisa said. Let me show you ultramarathons. The footage showed humans running across deserts, through forests, and over mountain ranges for distances that seemed impossible. Some races lasted for days, with participants running hundreds of miles while dealing with extreme weather, sleep, deprivation, and physical breakdown. The Badwater 135 takes place in Death Valley, Lisa explained. Runners cover 135 miles in temperatures that can reach 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Hallucinations from heat and exhaustion are common. They run until they hallucinate? Science Officer Kethmore whispered from his safe distance across the bridge. Oh, that's nothing, Aaron added cheerfully. There are Ironman competitions, where participants swim 2.4 miles, bicycle 112 miles, and then run a full marathon, all in sequence without stopping. Lisa nodded enthusiastically. And adventure races that can last for weeks. Teams navigate through wilderness using only maps and compasses, with minimal food and sleep. Commander Zixtal was now making continuous distress sounds. General Vexhai had given up taking notes and was instead calculating something frantically on his crystal tablet. Dr. Carter, the general said slowly, what you have shown us suggests that humans actively seek out suffering and danger. Is this normal behavior for your species? Lisa looked confused by the question. Well, not everyone participates in extreme sports, but most humans enjoy some form of competitive activity or physical challenge. It's part of our nature. Part of your nature, Commander Zixtal repeated faintly. Captain Jake Morrison decided to clarify. What Dr. Carter means is that humans have always pushed boundaries. It's how we've survived and evolved. We explore, we test limits, we take risks. We also have a saying, Aaron added helpfully, hold my beer and watch this. The aliens went completely silent. After a long moment, Science Officer Kethmore spoke up. What does that phrase mean? Aaron grinned. It's what humans say right before they attempt something spectacularly dangerous and probably stupid. Someone holds your drink while you try something that will either be amazing or get you killed. Usually both, Ryan added from his station. General. Vexhai's crystal tablet slipped from his hands and shattered on the floor of the alien bridge. This phrase, Commander Zixtal said very quietly, it is common among humans? Oh yeah, Lisa said brightly. You hear it all the time. Right before someone jumps off a bridge or tries to surf a hurricane or decides to wrestle an alligator. You know, typical human stuff. The three aliens stared at the humans in complete silence for nearly 2 full minutes. Finally, General Vexhai spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Carter, you mentioned that these activities we have observed are considered beginner level among your species. That's right, Lisa confirmed. Could you Could you show us what humans consider advanced recreational activities? Lisa's face broke into the biggest smile yet. Now you're talking. Wait until you see what we do for real excitement. 2 hours after the cultural exchange ended, General Vexhai stood before the Emergency Military Council aboard the Veltar flagship Crystalline Judgment. The conference room was filled with the highest-ranking military officers in the hegemony fleet, all waiting to hear his assessment of humanity's threat level. Honored commanders, General Vexhai began, his voice still shaky from what he had witnessed. I must revise our initial evaluation of the human species. We have gravely underestimated their psychological profile. Admiral Kreltos, the fleet's supreme commander, leaned forward in his crystal chair. Explain, General. Our scouts reported that humans appeared to be a standard developing species, moderately aggressive, technologically advancing, but nothing unusual. General Vexhai activated his backup recording device since his primary tablet had been destroyed during the cultural exchange. Admiral, what I am about to show you will fundamentally change how we view these creatures. The humans have revealed recreational activities that suggest a complete absence of normal survival instincts. The recording began to play, showing the footage that Dr. Carter had so enthusiastically shared. The alien military officers watched in growing horror as humans threw themselves off cliffs, dove with sharks, and engaged in combat for entertainment. Admiral Kreltos made a sound like grinding glass. They do this voluntarily? Not only voluntarily, General Vexhai replied grimly, but they actively seek out increasingly dangerous activities. They appear to derive pleasure from proximity to death. The footage continued, showing extreme sports, contact fighting, and endurance competitions that pushed human bodies beyond all reasonable limits. Captain Zethmar, the fleet's tactical officer, spoke up. General, could this be some form of military training disguised as recreation? That was my initial thought, General Vexhai admitted. But further investigation revealed that these activities serve no strategic purpose. Humans engage in them purely for what they call fun and adrenaline rushes. Science Officer Kethmore, who had requested permission to address the council, stepped forward. Honored commanders, I have been analyzing the psychological implications of what we observed. If humans treat extreme danger as entertainment, we must consider what their behavior would be like in actual combat situations. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Admiral Kreltos spoke slowly. You're suggesting that a species that seeks out mortal danger for pleasure would have no fear in battle? Worse than that, sir, Science Officer Kethmore replied. They might actually enjoy it. Consider their recreational fighting sports, where they inflict and receive serious injuries for satisfaction. Now imagine that mentality applied to warfare. General Vexhai nodded grimly. I have compiled additional intelligence on human history. Their military conflicts show patterns consistent with what we observe today. Humans routinely volunteer for missions with near-certain fatality rates. They call such individuals heroes and celebrate their willingness to die. The recording continued, showing more extreme human activities. The military council watched humans run across deserts until they collapsed, climb frozen waterfalls, and race vehicles at deadly speeds. There's more, General Vexhai continued. The humans mentioned a phrase, one, hold my beer and watch this. According to their cultural liaison, this is commonly said before attempting extremely dangerous acts for no practical purpose. Captain Zethmar looked confused. They have ritualistic phrases for engaging in suicidal behavior? Apparently so, General Vexhai confirmed, and they use these phrases frequently in casual situations. Admiral Kreltos stood up from his chair, his crystalline form towering over the assembled officers. What is your recommendation, General? General Vexhai pulled up his final assessment report. Sir, I recommend immediately upgrading humanity's threat classification from moderate concern to extreme caution advised. Furthermore, I suggest we fast-track their application for Galactic Council membership. The Admiral's crystal features showed surprise. You want to invite them into the Council? These dangerous creatures? With respect, sir, I want them as allies rather than enemies. A species that treats mortal danger as entertainment cannot be defeated through conventional military intimidation. They would likely interpret our threats as challenges and respond with enthusiasm. Science Officer Keithmore supported the General's assessment. Our psychological analysis suggests that humans might actually perform better under pressure and threat. Their recreational activities indicate that stress and danger enhance their capabilities rather than diminish them. The council members exchanged worried glances. Admiral Kreltos consulted his tactical advisors before making his decision. Very well, General. Draft a recommendation for immediate council membership, full voting rights, extensive trade privileges, and diplomatic immunity for all human vessels. Sir, Captain Zethmar interjected, shouldn't we at least try to verify this intelligence? Perhaps the humans were exaggerating their recreational activities? General Vexhai shook his head. I thought the same thing, Captain. But then I cross-referenced their entertainment broadcast with our surveillance data. If anything, they understated the extremity of their behavior. He pulled up additional footage showing humans participating in activities so dangerous that several council members physically recoiled from their viewing screens. This is from their reality television, General Vexhai explained. Humans voluntarily strand themselves in hostile environments with minimal supplies, purely for the entertainment of other humans who watch their suffering for enjoyment. Admiral Kreltos made his decision. Broadcast a galaxy-wide advisory. All species are to maintain peaceful relations with humans. Under no circumstances should any military force engage them in direct conflict. What classification should we assign them in the threat database? Asked Captain Zethmar. The Admiral thought for a moment. Create a new category. Deathworld species, extreme psychological deviation, avoid confrontation at all costs. Meanwhile, aboard the New Horizon, Captain Jake Morrison was reading the message that had just arrived from the Galactic Council. This is interesting, he told his bridge crew. They've approved our council membership application. Full voting rights, extensive trade agreements, and they want to establish permanent diplomatic relations immediately. Dr. Lisa Carter looked pleased. I told you the cultural exchange would go well. They seemed very interested in human recreation. They sure did, agreed Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks. I think they were really impressed by our sports and activities. Engineer Kate Williams stretched at her station. Speaking of activities, who wants to do some recreational spacewalking when we get back to the ship? I found some new zero-gravity tricks I want to try. Count me in, said Commander Aaron Davis. But let's make it interesting. No safety tethers this time. Captain Jake Morrison nodded approvingly. Sounds like fun. Just don't tell the aliens about it until after the diplomatic paperwork is finished. In the distance, the Veltar fleet was already beginning to withdraw to a safer position, their crews grateful to have survived their first encounter with the terrifyingly unpredictable humans. General Vexhai filed his final report with a single concluding statement. Recommend peaceful coexistence with humans at all costs. Military. Engagement with this species would be inadvisable for the continued existence of Veltar civilization. The report was immediately classified at the highest security level and distributed to every military command in the galaxy. Humanity had just become the most feared species in known space, and they had accomplished it by simply sharing their idea of a good time.